My name's Duncan Hamilton. I live in Verona, Wisconsin. My disability is macular degeneration, which is a visual impairment. I've been an amateur artist all my life, since the earliest time that I got my first box of crayons. Always getting lectured by teachers in school to pay attention instead of drawing pictures. It's my hobby, and I've been doing it all my life. It's my main occupation these days. My dad was a photographer, hobbyist. My mother liked to draw and to paint. We had a lot of books about art that I grew up with. Over the years, I've been collecting these little books from artists that I admire and studying them. I've got a whole lot of these. They're my main inspiration, and the world around. My visual impairment is mainly because it's macular degeneration in details, but in the world in general, I can see really well. And my sense of color is not diminished at all. Sometimes I think it's sharper. Through the VA and the low vision clinic at the VA, they've been so helpful with visual aids. For instance, especially this lens lamp. It's I'll turn it off so it doesn't, it's a great, wonderful tool. And it used to be when I was making art, I would just be sitting at a table or holding a sketchbook on my lap, or sometimes painting with an easel, and sometimes with larger scale pieces. So I use this a lot. And the way I work is I get really close to what I'm doing here, so I can see in detail. I have to say, if I had not had this visual impairment, I would probably be doing things completely differently. I might be trying to paint scenes, but I can't do that anymore. When you have a disability, you have to adapt to it, and you can't give up. To show you a little bit of how I do things, I'm going to make a little blend, and I'm going to use 5 colors. And since it's hard for me to see, so I select ahead of time the sequence of the colors I want. So I always know I'm going to the end or this end, and so I'll just go right at it here. I start with one end, but that one I don't want a whole lot of. And then I go to, these are the outer ones, and then I go to the first inner one, which would be this one, dark there, and then the other inner one. And then I've got a whole bunch of these, they're called smudgers, and this is the one I use for greens. I just kind of work it in. I do each one individually. Just to emphasize it. And I use one of these just to clean it off from whatever previous color I've been using, or because there are various kinds of the same color. And then I go into this one, and into this one, and then into this one. I'm sort of, as I said, going quicker than I usually would. I'm just going to go ahead and just do a quickie here. And go right through it, and then bring this into that. But I don't always do blends. Sometimes I do them in grids. Usually when I'm working, I always have music on. Either music, sometimes talking books. I really like to plug talking books. The Library of Congress has a program for people who are legally blind. And go to the medium. I spend more time figuring out my sequences. Lots of just scratching around, seeing the combinations that I want. Yeah, I've got so many different kinds of greens. You can see there's slight differences between them. And sometimes I just begin anywhere. But other times I spend a lot of time designing what I want to do. And this one is in black and white because I wanted to, I didn't know what colors I was going to use, but I wanted to figure out the light and the shade. I would spend 2 or 3 hours just figuring out what I wanted to do and having it blocked out, planned. But other times, as I say, I just start. And it's not so organized. It's more free form. Then when I've got the basic idea, and then I kind of what I call working the seams. And I found that when you have colors that naturally sort of clash with each other, like yellow and purple, they really don't go together. You've got one right next to the other. Working the seam, you expect it to turn into something black or muddy, but you have to, if you're really careful, sometimes it succeeds and sometimes it doesn't. People who are artistically inclined and who have disabilities should not give up on their art. Find a different way to do it. Your eyes are very important. They're probably close to the most important things you have as an artist. But they're not as important as your mind. Your mind is what makes things happen.